Hello again. Welcome to our series, Art and Artists at Daylesford Abbey. I'm Father Andrew Safferny, and today we're going to take a close look at what we call the Wilten-Daylesford St. Norbert. It is a large painting of St. Norbert that has been in our possession since the time that we were teaching down in South Philadelphia. And like two other older pieces that we have that we'll do later, two pieces of wooden sculpture, we don't know the provenance of this painting. That is, we don't know how it got to Philadelphia. Because the story is that it was bought while we were teaching at Southeast Catholic High School, what later became St. John Newman High School. That original school at 7th and Christian was an easy walk to Pine Street. And Pine Street then and now has a lot of shops of antiquarians, antiques, furniture, painting, other things. And this is the story, whether that has come down in our community, because we have no paperwork. And that is that this painting was in the window of an antiquarian, and one of our priests recognized that it was St. Norbert. Actually, St. Norbert's name is on the panel at in front of him. And of course, this generated a lot of interest among the Norbertine fathers, and there were quite a few at that time, probably about 25 to 30. And every time they went and take a look at it, the price went up. This is at least, again, the story. So that after a while, they were forbidden by the superior to go look at this painting, and eventually it was bought. That's the story. So what have we learned about this painting? It is a very large painting, again, of St. Norbert. And the first thing we would note is that his habit would be the habit that we would expect of Norbertines, especially in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, after the Council of Trent. So he has what's called a mozzetta, a cape with buttons, which is worn usually by bishops and canons and abbots. So he has that habit of an abbot. He has the pectoral cross, which you could see is different than the way it's worn today. It's under the mozzetta and sticking out at the bottom. And he has a pallium. The pallium is the sign of an archbishop. Now, what's interesting in this, a pallium is made of white wool of lambs that are shorn, and the cloth woven by the sisters at the Basilica of St. Agnes in Rome. And it is a sign from the Pope that this is an archbishop. There are no red palliums as far as we know. So this is artistic license. So it's a impressive piece of work of St. Norbert. In his left hand, he has the cross of an archbishop, that is, two arms rather than one. And in his right, the monstrance. Norbert would have never seen a monstrance. It did not exist in the 12th century. But in the Counter-Reformation, with its focus on devotion to Eucharist as a counterplay against the denial of the real presence by the Protestant Reformation, Norbert, the classic image of Norbert from in that time, after his canonization in 1582, is with the monstrance. So these are elements that are very common to many, many images of Norbert. Pallium, archiepiscopal cross, monstrance. Now we can take this piece about the Eucharist and go into the lower left-hand corner. And there's a delicate little scene. It is Norbert standing at the very far left of the painting before what looks like it could be a chapel, and people are coming to him with their hands outstretched. What is in their hands is the Eucharist that they have hidden. The story here is that Norbert, in 1126, went to Antwerp to preach against the heresy of Tanchelm. Tanchelm was already dead, but he was a heretic in the period of the Gregorian Reform, who said to the people, if you have a priest who is in sin, then his celebration of the Eucharist is not valid. And he was desecrating hosts. So the people took these hosts and hid them. And when Norbert was able to come to Antwerp and put down that heresy, the people came to him with the Blessed Sacrament that they had hidden. It's a beautiful little element in this painting. On the right side is what looks like the ruins of a castle. It's possible that, that those ruins, that was done from real life rather than imagination. But next to that is the piece that gives us the most information. It is a coat of arms. And this coat of arms has two elements. It has what looks like a grill that one might barbecue something on, and three stones. The church of our abbey in Wilten, just outside Innsbruck, is dedicated to two deacons. Stephen, who was stoned to death, among the first deacons, and St. Lawrence, who was the patron deacon of Rome. The Abbey of Wilten goes back far longer than the Norbertine Order. There was a Roman camp there because Innsbruck is at the base of the Brenner Pass. So it's a very, very important place for going from Austria into Italy and from Italy back into Northern Europe. So probably the original chapel was dedicated to St. Lawrence, and then the other deacon, St. Stephen. The other two elements in this coat of arms is a lion. And here's our cue, because coats of arms of abbots and bishops have, first of all, the elements of the place where they are bishop or abbot. And here we have the elements of the three stones and the grill. So we know that's the coat of arms of the Abbey of Wilten. Now we have two lions. And we know that the abbot who really built the present Abbey Church, his name was Dominicus Leur, L-O-umlaut-H-R. So Dominicus, Dominic Lion. So the lion is telling us who this abbot is. And we know that he lived that he was abbot from 1652 to 1687, and that he was the abbot who built the present Baroque church. So we have some sense that this painting is, well, we have a lot of sense that it is from Wilten and that it was done in that period. Finally, let's look at this broad band at the bottom, which identifies the person in the painting. And it says, Saint Norbert, the founder of our order, the apostle of Antwerp, because he shut down the heresy of Tancombe, Archbishop of Magdeburg, primate of Germany. He lived under 4 popes who were seconds, that is, Gelasius II, Callistus II, Honorius II, and Innocent II, and under the Emperor Henry II. He died in 1134. How did this painting get to the United States? We have no idea, but we have a hint. In the middle of the 19th century, the Abbey of Wilten allowed some of their priests to come to central Wisconsin to minister to the German immigrants there. And in fact, there is a St. Norbert Parish in Wisconsin, not far from Madison. That mission was unsuccessful. One of the priests was called back. The other 2 died in the United States without ever having been able to establish a community. It's possible that someone sent this painting to them, and that later, when the Norbertines were gone, it was of no interest, and the painting somehow went up for sale. We don't know that, but we are very glad that this is a part of our heritage here at Daylesford Abbey, and we invite you, if you are here at the Abbey, to come and look at it closely yourself. Thank you. One of the two medieval biographies of St. Norbert says about him that he was admired because he was affable and cultured. Among the great he was great, humble among the poor, high-ranking among the noble, temperate among the ignoble. He was made all things to all. I think we'd all like to have a portrait of that kind of person, even if not a canonized saint. This one was painted about 500 years after Norbert's death, but it conveys something of the character and story of the man. Of Norbert as Archbishop of Magdeburg, it is written, "He gave honor to the ministry entrusted to him by God, preserving the unity of the Holy Church, supporting the poor and orphans and widows, while setting an example of religious life." We read, again in one of the medieval biographies of St. Norbert, "Some of the men and women there in Antwerp, hearing Norbert preach and seeing the works that followed, were repentant and returned, bringing back the body of the Lord, which they had kept in boxes or niches for 10 or 15 or more years." We hear in the 5th chapter of the first letter of St. Peter, "God's flock is in your midst. Give it a shepherd's care, that when the chief shepherd appears, you may win for yourself the unfading crown of glory."